Welcome back, folks. Cape Rugby TV. Well, we are back, as you can see. Clubs talking to us, clubs telling us what's happening, talking about all their different activities. And he's a regular on Cape Rugby TV. Now, into the next year. We're now, in fact, I haven't even thought about it, but in fact, we are now going into our 11th year of Cape Rugby TV. Jono van der Walt. Jono, nice to have you back.
Hey, JP, how's it going, man? Lekker to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Jono. It's I suppose, if you ask me how's it going, the important thing is we're looking after the health and safety side of things, one step at a time. But I suppose we can acknowledge that things are difficult at the moment for everybody. But it's great to see you. You look like you're in good spirits on the other side.
Yeah, JP, we can't complain. You know, like we say to the guys, at least we have our health at this stage, and like all things that we have work that we get to come to, because after all, you know, it is amateur and club sport, and we do all work for a living, and we love to play rugby after hours. So now it's time to knuckle down a bit and get some work done. And you know, with 2020 taught a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and you know, employees and people that work that it's extremely tough out there, and we have to be grateful for obviously the work that we have. And yeah, so at the moment we're just trying to keep safe, trying to do all of the normal things: social distancing, sanitizing our hands, wearing masks where we can, just being safe in general, but at the same time also getting out, you know. So even though the beaches are closed, you know, you can still walk in the road, in the street, you can still run, you've got tackies in it, you know, you can get out and move and get into the sun. So you don't have to be all doom and gloom. We call them Debbie Downers, negative Nancy's. You don't have to be all down and in a house and stuck there, that type of thing, because, and also if we do get sick, we must be strong enough to fight it. So yeah, that's maybe the thought process behind it, that, you know, we're not just going to sit down and take it. We're going to get up and make sure that we fit and still challenge and hold each other accountable, which I think is great.
Let's go back to 2020. A year we've spoken to a few guys on the club side of, and certainly 2020 was a year that was unpredictable. Everything was different, but from a Bay point of view, from a Fast Bay point of view, you guys were thinking out the box. You came up with new ideas to keep the players connected. You yourself were quite involved with at a provincial level. If you look back at 2020, just some of the positives, I mean, some of the maybe even new dynamics of what you're going to look at carrying from 2020 into 2021. What is it? Is it social media? Is it more Zoom calls? Is it more gees?
Yeah, I think 2020 had its challenges. I think it was all fun and jokes in March when we you know, at our homes for 35 days in lockdown and doing challenges, and that was great. And then after 4 or 5 weeks, we had to kind of move on, and then the whole Zoom call kind of thing came and went, and it was Teams, and it was whatever way we could meet and kind of communicate, and then we've had to evolve and change over time. And as things, we couldn't be on field, and as we couldn't literally be on beaches or be anywhere, we've just been confined. But you know, then obviously the gyms are open, but there's a certain amount of people. So yeah, so it's been tough, it's been challenging, it hasn't been easy. We've also got a lot of players lost their jobs, a lot of players lost loved ones, a lot of players maybe struggled and they got sick themselves as well. So some live with maybe elderly folks and grandparents and all the rest. So 2020 is super challenging. 2021 at the start is no different. And, you know, the only thing, we're maybe just a bit more experienced and we're a bit more kind of streetwise, so we can learn from that. So one thing we've said is kind of take everything that we've learned in 2020 and apply it to 2021. And yeah, you know, there's talk about postponement of club rugby, but it's not just club rugby, it's all sports. So it's not like rugby is just affected, it is all sport, which we know at school and at club, and everybody's in the same boat, and people can't go to the beaches and the surfers are up in arms and all the rest. So it's affecting everybody. And it is very easy to be negative, to be honest, and it's very tough to maybe try to commit to something that you don't know if it's going to happen in this year. And when you maybe a bit older and it kind of comes with experience, you can be fine. But when you're maybe a youngster and you're 18 to 21 and you're thinking, you know, I've finished school or I'm at school and I need to do stuff, I need to study and kind of make something of my life, it's very challenging times at the moment.
Very difficult. But Fast Bay has always had the ability to rise above challenges. I mean, you guys have always been able to use the spirit of the players, the fans, the members. You've been able to tap into those things and, like I say, rise above it.
Yes, JP, and again, it is not easy. So, you know, and it's very easy for other people, again, to look and pass comment, to do whatever they do. At the moment, one thing we've learned in lockdown, it's survival of the fittest. or it's almost like every man for himself type of thing. But as a club, we've actually grown quite strong, even though we haven't even had rugby, which is quite interesting. But we did say that we're a rugby club. And what is a club? A club is a community of people that come together, that are like-minded. So in times when it's tough, this is when we must stick together, and we must try and prepare. And if rugby happens in a year or 2 years' time, it doesn't matter when it happens, but we will move, we will be fit, and make sure that when there is a rugby match, that False Bay is, if not the fittest team, but one of the fittest teams in the league.
You mentioned it actually in that sense of it is survival of the fittest. But if I look at the wording or the phrase survival of the fittest in a slightly different context, is it a question for coaches, for clubs, for sports structures out there, even corporates, business, to say those that can adjust and adapt the quickest to these new circumstances are the ones that are going to survive? You have to adjust. You've got to think differently.
I agree 100% with you there, JP. You cannot have the same thinking that you had a year or two ago. And that goes for business, for rugby, for anything and everything in your life right now. You've got to be adapt. You've got to think you must think outside of the box. And if you've got a nice group of coaches, challenge each other. Ask guys to come up with new things. You know, maybe put the ball in the players' court and say, "Come on, guys, what do you guys want to do that's going to stimulate you? That's going to keep you excited. That's maybe going to, maybe we're going to have maybe one run a week, and it's going to be 1 hour, and it's going to be small groups of 4 or 5. We're going to run with our masks on. Why can't we do that? It's legal. It's not illegal. We can get together. Make that a challenge to your other fellow players who are also going through tough times at this point. So that's the kind of out-the-box thinking that I think that guys need to do a bit more.
And one of the things that I've noticed that False Bay does from a social media point of view is that you talk about off-field content. You don't always talk about the actual rugby content, the playing of the ball and the tackling and the how to hit in the scrum. You share pictures of your players getting married. You share pictures of the happiness that your clubs or members are busy with off the field.
Yes, JP, again, if someone's getting married, someone's had a kid, someone's celebrating a wedding anniversary or something like that, it's important because that person feels part of the club, or not feels part of the club, they are part of the club, but they've got a closer sense of feeling. So, and again, without there being much rugby and much content, again, the guys have got their work cut out just in terms of what we can bring to our members, which is what it's all about.
And you've kind of also just led me into my next question. The world of sponsorship is not something in the picture that we're getting that is a cold world. They want to see sponsors who get involved at the club level. They want to see relationships. They want to see engagements and interaction. Is that something that you guys have taken note of, that you say, well, let's build on this interaction, this connection with our members and players, because it also works for our sponsors?
Exactly, JP. And again, you'd be surprised that how well, even though some companies are struggling, there of course are companies that are doing well. And sponsors see clubs, and again, it just depends on how you portray your club and whatever your kind of committee and exco are doing for that particular club. But I can only speak of False Bay in particular. And companies want to be a part of False Bay because of our family culture, because of our hard work ethic and the things that we want to do. In these times when it's tough, companies want to support us, but at the same time, there must also be something for the company. And I know that you deal with that in your realm of marketing and so on and so forth. So that is another step where False Bay is trying to be better off of the field than obviously on the field, because we can't be on the field at this point in time.
Absolutely. Jono, we'll leave it at that. We're fantastic chatting with you. I can see that you're still at work. I'm hoping that you get to take a break somewhere along the line. But we're looking forward. We're looking forward to 2021. As much as we know that there's lots of negatives and things, we're looking forward to 2021 because we can talk more to you guys. We can find out about your history, your players, your leaders, your weddings and everything else that you've got at the club. So we're happy to have you back, and we're looking forward to 2021.
Thanks, JP. Our guys are super excited. We're keen. It's almost like there is something to look forward to, even though it might be in the distant future, but it's a carrot nonetheless. And our guys are just going to stay keen and motivated, and it's up to coaches and players in the club alike to make sure that their members and their club are still there, still together, keeping that club moving.
Fantastic. Jono, we'll leave it at that and we'll catch up soon. Thanks, Jono. Jonathan Walt there, folks. Of course, looking forward to catching up with Jono on a regular basis and finding out what False Bay is up to. Always looking on the positive side. Folks, talking about looking on the positive side, as you know, on a weekly basis, we take a look at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy's public reviews, the reviews that you have made about MChem Pharmacy. These reviews come in off Facebook and they come in off Google, and every week we take a look at one of the special reviews. Now, this week's review comes from Antoinette Visser-Swart, and she gives MChem a star rating. She gives a recommendation there of the MChem 24/7 pharmacy. And she says, baie dankie vir al MChem se personeel se geduld en vriendelikheid oor die afgelope lockdown tyd. Julle is voorware wenspan. God bless you. That message, of course, coming in there from Antoinette Visser-Swart, who gives a thumbs up clearly for MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. Folks, as you know, every staff member at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is, of course, geared to help you with your pharmaceutical requirements from the minute that you park to the minute that you leave. The MChem staff are there to help you with whatever you need, whenever you need it. And that's, of course, the MChem promise, or as Mr. Malach at MChem says, the MChem gold standard. MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is always open, and they're, of course, always there to help you 24 hours a day, every day. Folks, we're going to take an ad break, and when we come back from the break, we'll carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Don't go away. Back in a sec.